Hey, Rossie.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you good.
All right. Thanks for being on the show. I know this is a little bit different than what we normally do. I just thought I would try something else, something different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, welcome to Stereo.
I know, right?
So, this is a movie that I've been excited to talk about since last week when we first talked about wanting to do this, to be honest with you.
Right.
Um, but this movie actually stars, and it has a pretty good star list and everything if you actually think about it. You have Matthew McConaughey that's in this movie. Then of
Yep.
course you have Bell.
Jennifer Jason Lee.
Yep. And of course, this movie's called White Boy Rick. It takes place in the 1980s, which is something that I really liked. I like the nostalgia factor for it. Um,
Right.
this is get this. This movie was actually at the Telluride Film Festival on August 31st of 2018, and was released in the United States on September 14th of 2018 by Sony. It received mixed
Okay.
reviews from critics and grossed over $25 million, 25 million and 4 million short of its $29 million budget.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Wow.
overall, I think this movie was really good though.
I watched it this morning and I really liked it. It goes at a pretty steady pace. I wasn't expecting what I got in the beginning. I wasn't expecting for him to actually be working with the feds. So I'm like, where's this going? I thought he was like supposed to be some, you know, uh, drug dealer or whatnot. And so, yeah, it was really, really interesting and very good.
I definitely have to say it was really good. I loved how at the very start of it, it shows Rick and his dad, Rick Sr., over at the gun shop and everything. And you have this one guy who's just a crooked dealer who is basically just saying,
Oh,
oh, yeah, this is an AK-47 from Russia or something like that. And
right.
he's like, no, there's no way that's an AK-47 for Russia or anything. That's just a straight up AK that you're trying to rip off everybody. And he goes, well,
Exactly.
you see that security guard over there? And he goes, if um if you don't leave, I'm gonna get that security guard to leave. He goes, well, if you don't sell it to us for the regular price, we're gonna have to go on ahead and tell the security guard that you've been ripping off people.
Right.
So of course Rick winds up with a handgun and two AK-47s.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
definitely love that.
I love that part. And, first of all, I thought Matthew McConaughey, I think he's such a great actor and he did such a good
Hmm.
job portraying Rick's dad. Very believable. Richie Merritt, who plays Rick, great actor, but they then go home and Rick takes the two AKs and takes them to a friend of his at I think it was like a body shop or a, mechanic shop. And that's where, for me, the story starts to,
Hmm.
unwind. Yes.
Definitely, it does start off like a little bit of a slow pace in a certain aspect
Yes, it
of it
does.
because you don't know what. But I like that slow burn type of feel, and also too, it feels like an indie film for sure. The way it was filmed, and it
Absolutely.
actually feels like it was. I love films that makes us sit in like the '80s and actually feels like the '80s. The way it was shot felt like the
Yes.
'80s.
Yes, absolutely. I thought the wardrobe, and like you said, it looked like you're watching the 80s. The cars, the like I said, the costumes, everything. The whole atmosphere was the
Right.
80s. And I like how they gradually take you from, I think it started in 84 where we
Yeah,
start
starts in
at,
'84.
and
Yep.
in 84, and then gradually takes you to 85 and whatnot. Um so yeah, and the whole indie feel of the movie, absolutely. I definitely got that.
Me too. I actually get this. I actually thought it was really cool on how they actually do that because sometimes it doesn't feel like the '80s and it says that it's the '80s, but the way it was shot frame by frame, it feels like the
Yes,
'80s. I'm just eating the nostalgia factor out of it because I love '80s movies. And,
absolutely.
you know, this is actually where it picks up, like you said, where Rick Sr. is actually manufacturing gun parts and sells guns illegally to make ends meet, and involves his son
Right.
and a sale of AK-47s with a local gangster named Johnny Curry. And
Right.
of course, I love how Rick is trying to sell them on the silencers. He goes, "How?"
Yes. Yeah.
But there's something that you want to add to that one, because I think that you
Well,
might have something.
I like the fact of how the kid seems like a really confident kid, very quiet, but I guess he, you get that he'd been going to these gun shows with his dad for a long time, so he knew about the guns and the silencer that he offers them. And I like the way that the guys are kind of um the way that they're looking at him like, what the hell are you doing here? Like like
Right,
you're just gonna walk up in here and what I mean, just like this white guy around all these other black guys, but his confidence was just like it was awesome.
right. And
It
just
was
like
awesome.
Johnny said, you may the one thing that Johnny had said back whenever he was first introduced to himself, you may walk like us, but you're not one of us. You
Exactly,
may
right.
walk and talk like us, but you're not us.
Yeah, that's right. Because their jail time is different than if he gets caught and he gets jail time. And so they
Right,
wanted to make that very clear with him. And then so he's doing a gun thing. And I think a little bit after that is when the feds enter the whole picture. And it
right.
happens fast
Because
because you don't he doesn't do any, you know what I mean? He doesn't do anything. So you're wondering what do they have to do with him? Why are they picking this kid up?
exactly, because
You
he
know?
feels like he's out of place. He doesn't belong there, like the black guy
Absolutely, yeah.
said, because he stands out. No, you get a kid that's white going into
Right,
this black Silesian is what I call it, because of the arcades and stuff like that.
right, right,
And you know, of course, it's like it's a front, but he goes in there and he has to try and persuade them to buy the silencers, and also the AKs. And he even asks his dad. He goes, "How the hell do I sell the silencers with the
right,
AKs? There's no way they're going to go for it." He said, "You have
right.
to act like that they can't live without it and everything, and go
Very
in from
right. I
that."
forgot that part. Right, right,
And I like how the feds intervene with that, because, like, okay, like you said, what's this white kid doing in here and stuff like that. And then
yeah,
once you find out that Rick's in trouble because Rick Sr. put him up to the fact with selling the AK-47s with the silencer. Also, too, he has a sister that's also a drug addict and everything
yes,
too.
yes.
Especially whenever the father, especially when they come home, and he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" He goes,
That's
"I thought
right.
you were supposed to be at the gun show all day." He goes, "Well, it's all day. We're back now."
We're back now, and she's on a couch with this loser guy that she's totally in love with, and the guy gets up and he walks out and he's just like over it. And that's, I mean, it looks like the sister's downfall had already started when we're watching the
Right,
film, but you really get to see, because she leaves after that. She hates her dad. She calls him a loser. She hates her life. But she loves this guy who she ends up taking off and going to be with, and, delves deeper into her drug abuse, her love of crack, basically,
right.
and then
And
you realize, go ahead.
no, no, no. Go on ahead. I want to keep going.
Oh, the fact that, you also get to see that Rick and his sister have this really tight bond. She loves the hell out of the kid, but she just can't stand the father and her living conditions, and just really likes this loser dude who means more than her than anything. So, but I love their relationship, Rick and his sister.
Right. I thought the dynamic between them two were really good and very spot on, to the fact that I
Yes,
actually believe that they were a brother and sister, because sometimes you get the brother and
right,
sister dynamic and it just doesn't work. For this one, it just
right.
clicks. Number
I
one,
think
Rick
the
also
whole
doesn't like his
family
father.
thing, the whole family thing clicked, because I mean, honestly, after a while, you
Hmm.
forget that you're looking at Matthew McConaughey.
Right. You
You
just
for
forget.
me, it's kind
Right.
of like you believe the grandparents are his grandparents. That the whole thing just worked. It just really
Hmm.
good. The chemistry between all of them was so real and lifelike.
It definitely was. The grandfather what felt the most real for me. So was Rick Sr., which is played by Matthew, because at first
Yes.
I'm like, okay, that's Matthew McConaughey and everything, and then all of a sudden he
Yeah.
just transcends through the whole, does flips
Yes.
the script,
Yeah.
and you're automatically believing that this is actually happening, and you're witnessing
Right.
this with them.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
but like Johnny said, here's the thing. Another thing too, Rick becomes good friends with Johnny's brother Boo, which earns him the favor of Johnny and his crew. News of Rick's activity, like you said, the FBI, and he is questioned
The
by
Fed.
two agents, which is Alex Snyder and Frank Beard, who see Ricky as a potential asset due to his connections with the
Right.
criminal underworld. But at first, Rick is like, I'm not sure if I even want to get involved with this, man. I just wanted to sell the AK-47s and move on with my life.
Exactly.
You
Right.
know? Because we're basically just being arms dealers, kind of. Like a small
And that was
hustle.
it. And that was it. There was no drugs, there was nothing else involved. And when you see, and like you said, he kind of, like you said, became the favorite of Boo's brother because he was a good friend of Boo. And, I don't know if you remember the part, but when they all invite him out, they go to the roller rink
Mm-hmm.
and go and do
Yeah.
that. And remember, he goes home and he's actually invited to the wedding.
Yeah.
And I remember the scene where, Matthew comes in, or Rick's father comes in and is like, where are you going? And he didn't even know that this was a big deal, that he was going to the mayor's house, Ricky. And I remember when he brings it up to his dad, and his dad's like, oh, you're going to, that's where the mayor lives. How about I go with you and make some connections? And I felt really bad for Ricky because he couldn't do it. It wasn't a good
Right.
scene for his dad to be there, and how his dad just kind of gives him that look like, he's supposed to be that guy invited to,
Exactly.
to the mayor, because he hustled with these guns to be that guy, and he's seeing his son become what he wants to become,
Right.
but still stood
It's
by
kind of
him,
like jealousy.
still.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit of jealousy. You do get a little bit of jealousy, but he loves his son,
Exactly. He loves his son. It seems like he was trying to be like a consigliere to his son, though, trying to guide him and mold him into
Right,
that lifestyle. If he was going to be
right,
a part of it, he wanted him to be molded into it.
right. But
But you know,
unfortunately,
right. But I definitely love the roller skate thing, though. I definitely love that. I also
yeah,
like the wedding setup and everything too, because this is where it
yes,
really starts getting heavy, though, with the drugs as far as
yes.
selling.
And the fact that the feds, when at first, they pick them up, they want to do the guns thing, with them, and have them go. And remember, they had him go do a buy to go get some, see if he can buy from a dude, whatever. And he thinks he's done with that, and then they pick him up again, and they have this, the drugs with him. And I remember him saying, gosh, you guys wanted me to go and buy drugs, now you want me to sell drugs. And you have that detective or the Fed guys like, you got $4,000 worth of drugs there. I wish I could sell it. And that's when he starts to sell the drugs, because they allowed him to keep all of it,
Allowed him to keep
everything
the
he
drug
makes
money.
from it. And he does very well.
He does extremely well. And also, too, Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey's other dream was to open up a video store because in the 80s
Right.
it was filled. And I actually did some research on how much it costs to actually run a video store. And this is just
Yeah.
me watching the documentary of Blockbuster on how on everything. Because don't
Mm-hmm.
forget, everybody's saying, "Oh, Netflix was the one who shut him down and everything," but they did a whole entire documentary of why it got shut down, and there's only one now
Okay.
in the United States. But it
Okay.
cost $400 million to actually, about 4 million or somewhere around that area, to open up a video store.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
So
I didn't think it'd be
you,
that much.
me either, but it costs a lot of money to actually do a video store because think of it like this: you also have to get the rights from the studios, and then after that, the
Very
studios
true.
actually has to cut you a deal. So there's a lot that comes in
Okay.
goes into making that business and everything that
Okay.
I didn't think so too until I watched the documentary on how much it actually cost. I'm like, wow.
I
And then
Yeah,
I'm
I didn't
watching
think so.
this, and then I'm watching this. I'm like, dude, you're gonna need a whole lot more than than what you're
Especially if you
thinking.
know that, and you watch that and realize how much, because honestly, I thought, gosh, why don't you go into business with your dad? Because you think, a little video store, you're not thinking about licenses and all that. You just think,
Right,
you get some videos, open up the store, and there you go. But four
right. It's
million,
the American
okay.
dream. Right. It's like the American
It,
dream. I'll have a couple of thousand. I'll be all right. I'll be set. I'll have my video store.
yep,
My son can actually help run it. It's the American
right,
dream kind of thing.
right.
But I just laugh at the fact that how Rick Sr. just all of a sudden out of the blue mentions a video store as his big dream.
And he was serious. Like that was his thing. And
Right.
remember the boxes of
Right.
videos that they had in the house?
Right. I
Yeah.
remember that. But also too, like I mentioned, like you were mentioning too, with the FBI agents and everything,
Right.
making him sell it and everything. And then also too, I like how Rick all of a sudden started getting the big hit. He goes, "Hey, I need some ketchup on my hamburger."
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. And he's like, as they're talking to him, you got some fries? They give him the
Yeah.
fries. You got some ketchup? No, we don't got any ketchup. Just eat the damn fries. And he's like, who buys French fries and don't ask for ketchup with the French fries? Which is so freaking true. Which is
Right.
so freaking true.
Exactly.
But yeah, so yeah.
I just thought it was funny. That was just a funny scene altogether. And then also too, like I said, Alex Snyder and Frank Beard is the two FBI agents. Then
Okay.
of course they actually convinced Ricky to become the undercover informant behind Rick's back in exchange for the money and immunity for his father. So Rick is doing
Right.
this for his father to keep him out of
Absolutely.
jail. And that's what he's thinking of, is trying to keep his father out of jail, help him with his American dream of opening up a
Yep.
video store. And then after he's done, he's done. He can just be with his dad and everything, and that'll be the end of it. But the deeper he gets
Exactly.
in, he realizes that he can't get out of it because now he's connected with this crew, and his crew is now bringing in money, which is also
Right.
helping Rick out on both ends. He's making money from the FBI and also the drug deal, the
Right.
other thing.
But the
So,
head of the crew, remember, he's like, it was getting remember Rick was at his houses,
mhm,
cutting up the crack and doing that. And
right.
remember the guy at the head of the crew, I forget his name anyways, but remember
It
he
was
tells Rick,
Johnny.
what was it?
It was Johnny.
There you go. He's like, I don't want you there. I don't want you at the houses. I don't want you doing that. And if you do decide to do that and sell, you go through me, but stay away from the
Right.
houses. So that's kind of,
Exactly.
just getting a little bit too much heat on them. And that's when he
Right.
was like, you get in trouble, you get white time, we get black time. And I don't need you to bring all of us down by what you're doing, basically.
Right. And also too, I also liked how he broke him down with this. He goes, "What? You don't think I know about what's going on in my own neighborhood? That I would just not
Right.
know that you're selling in my houses?" He goes,
Right.
He's like, "I'm the kingpin here. You're just the guy who's selling, and you're selling in the wrong neighborhood and everything. If
And
you want
remember
to
when
sell it, you need to sell somewhere else."
And remember when he brought it up to Rick, remember Rick didn't know what he was talking about because Rick thought he was talking about that he saw him getting into the car with the agents.
That's what I
So
had
remember,
thought,
he's
to be
kind of
honest with
like,
you.
yeah, he's kind of like he seems a little scared because he's like, he doesn't know. And I was like, oh my God, please don't say it's the agents. Just shut up. Don't say anything. And thank goodness he just didn't say anything and find out, okay, it was the crack houses. They know about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's something that I really like, though, because I'm being honest with you. This is actually my third time maybe seeing it, but I'm still on the edge of my seat every single time I see that
Mm-hmm.
scene, to be honest with you, because it gives you chills because you don't know what
Yeah.
to expect with the character, if this is going to be the end for Rick, even though we're only an hour in, not even an hour in, maybe about 30 minutes in. But there's
Right.
more film left, but it makes you wonder, is this just flashbacks? What's going on here with Rick? What's what's going to happen? So
Exactly,
that's
because you think the guy knows, and if he knows, he's dead. Rick's dead, and like you said, we're only a half hour into the movie, and all this is happening. That's why I love the pace of the film. The beginning's a little slow, but once it starts happening, it's happening.
mhm. It definitely
Yeah,
does. It doesn't slow down either. I mean, there's no slow moments after that, to be
no,
honest with
none
you,
whatsoever.
unless you count the maybe one scene where Rick sleeps with Johnny's wife. That
Oh my
might,
gosh, oh my gosh.
but
Do you
but
remember though
still,
at the wedding? Was it at the wedding when
no.
he kept looking at, where was that at? Where he was looking at the wife and Johnny noticed that Ricky kept looking at his woman.
Right. It
Yeah,
was
they're having some
actually
type of
during a pool
party and
party.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a pool
Yeah,
party
oh, there
type
you
of
go.
deal.
There you go. There you go.
And he's over there. He's already getting dry humped inside the pool and everything too. And while he's
Exactly.
over there getting dry humped and or wet jumped or whatever you want to call it,
Right.
and everything.
Right.
He's over there looking at the wife like, "Hey, what's up? I want some of that too." Well, man,
And I'm like,
but
dude, be careful. Like,
right,
stop staring at her. You're kind of nervous for the
right,
kid.
exactly. Because that's something else I want to play back though too. Like that's like going out with Tony Soprano's wife, and you're trying to go out with her, knowing that you can't do that. That's the boss's wife. The only way that you can be
Right.
with her is if you whack him, and you can't do
Exactly.
that.
Right. Right.
But um but yeah, let's go ahead. But at this point though too, we're gonna go back to that one scene where I was talking about with us just feeling like with the goosebumps and stuff like that for him.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, eventually he gains enough credibility as a legitimate drug dealer. Rick is suspicious of his son and confronts Ricky when he finds thousands of dollars in insolent cash underneath his bed.
Yes. That kid was making so much money. And remember the reason why he went and looked was because he was outside. He was selling
Mhm.
guns. The dad was selling guns to some ladies in like a parking lot. Remember, the car goes by and he
Mhm.
notices that Rick is in the car with those agents. And remember,
Right,
dad's kind of looking and kind of like, what the hell? Goes home,
right.
searches his room, looks under his bed, thousands of dollars in a shoebox.
And he's like,
And
"I'm doing
dad
this
is
for you,
totally
Dad."
against drugs. He is
Right.
against drugs, so yeah,
Even here's the thing. I know that they come from a dysfunctional family, but one thing I can
yeah,
respect about Rick Senior is the fact that he's trying to look out for his son, making sure he doesn't do that, and
yes,
stuff like that. All he wants to do is sell guns, which is even worse. But it's also worse too, but it's not
yes,
involving drugs. But he's just trying to look out for him. And Rick is like, "I'm trying to do this for you. I'm trying to help you stay out of jail, so that way you don't go back into jail, and also too, so you can open up your video store."
right. The American dream
So
that he wanted.
right. And
Yeah,
you tell that he was kind of moved by that in a sense. This Rick Senior was, but at the same time, he was also pissed
yeah.
off.
And you like you said about Rick Senior, the fact that what he was doing wasn't right. But one thing you do get throughout the film is he loves his kids, even a daughter that's on drugs, absolutely adores them, and really wants the best for the kids. Like he is
Right.
you get that he's a family guy. Loves his mom and dad who live right across the street. So I did get that. Like this guy, not the best father, but still he really does love his kids and really wants the best for them. What he
Exactly.
sees. You know,
Exactly. And also too, this is also where we wind up seeing Ricky take his grandfather's car and goes
right.
to that little diner, and he gets this big old huge ass stuffed animal for his sister.
That's right. That's right. The little
And
the Tweety bird or something. Yeah.
yeah. And he goes, "Don, you need to come back home." And she's like, not, she's just not having it. And you can definitely
Not
tell
at
the
all.
drugs are is just wearing her out.
Wow, right? She's all pale. She's starting to look skinny. She's tweaky, like, she's all over the place. But he wants her to come home. And like you said, it's not happening. She doesn't want to go back to where they don't have anything, basically.
Right.
You
Exactly. You're
know?
lucky if you might have like some sandwich meat or something like that in the side of the fridge
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
everything.
So yeah, so you kind of get that, but and even in that scene, that's when you realize how really close they are. She loves her brother. And remember, this kid we start out with him only being 15 years old doing all this stuff.
Exactly. It's just crazy he was just 15 years old working with the FBI, and then he's dealing with all this family stuff though too at the same time, and trying to
Yes.
find his place, trying to figure
Right.
things out. And his
Exactly.
father also wants him to go back to school too. He wants him to go back
You
to school,
know,
quit wasting his life.
I didn't even realize, honestly, that the kid wasn't going to school until they brought it up. And I'm like, oh, whoa,
Right.
okay, so he's not going to school. He's not doing any of that. He's making money though,
Right. He's learning the street
you
life,
know?
street smarts,
Yeah,
rather than learning from a
absolutely.
book.
Right. Yes.
But this is also too where things go south inside that diner because some thieves winds up stealing the grandfather's
Grandpa.
car. Johnny, here's the thing: Rick winds up shooting the back of the car shattering the back
Yes.
window, and then of course that's when the cops. Of course, Don also has a gun too, and
Yes. Yep. And I love that
and
scene that they both take guns out and start shooting at the same time. I died because I mean, you're not expecting that. And just in public, just shooting at whoever's taking a car, and like you said, they get arrested, he gets arrested. Yeah.
exactly. And then the father goes, "What the hell are you thinking?" He goes, "I was trying to get Dawn back." He goes, "Look, I miss her too, you know."
Right.
And he goes, "But you just can't go about doing this." And then it's the next day, and the grandparents wants to talk to the grandson about why the car was missing.
So
And
right, it's like he's like he wanted to fight him.
exactly, and
Grandpa
then
like wanted to fight the boy, like, come here, get over here,
right,
come and see me about the car. And I'm laughing because I'm like, he wants to fight this boy over the car, you know.
right,
And like you said, I
right.
didn't steal it, I just borrowed it for a little bit and it was stolen from me.
And I liked how Matthew McConaughey replies back. He goes, "I see your point, Rick. I see it, but your grandparents don't see it that way. So you,
Exactly. Right. Right.
so you need to go and make
But
amends with."
absolutely, absolutely.
So
And you gotta love his grandparents. But from that, what gets Rick in trouble with his
Johnny,
gang, his crew, Johnny. I keep forgetting the dude's name. I'm sorry. With Johnny is because remember they're questioning, how did you get out of that situation so quick? If it was one
exactly.
of us, we'd basically be in jail. So, I mean, common sense would say that he's working with them.
Right, even though it was not about drugs, it was about him having a gun and
Right.
firing it into an open street. It's still the
Right.
same concept, no matter which way you look
Yeah,
at it from their point
he
of
was charged with
perspective.
attempted murder and theft and attempted assault and all that, so to have charges like that and just to walk out, something's not right,
Exactly.
you know
And right, and that's also too where he laid down the ground rules on that too. He said basically he's pretty much keeping close eyes on Johnny at that not on Johnny but on Rick at that time though
yeah,
too.
right,
Uh this is also too like later on, I think maybe a course of a couple of days later or something, but that's when they go to Vegas at that pool party that we were talking about.
right, right. Okay, I was way ahead then. Okay, that's right, because remember the dude that knew Johnny had tickets to the Tommy Hearn, I think that's his name,
Yeah.
the big fight at the time in 84, 85. And anyway, so they're supposed to have these tickets and they get dressed up kind of like, our dude in the last movie that
American
we
Gangster.
reviewed. Right.
Yeah, American
Right.
Gangster. Yeah.
American Gangster, the fur coats, just, all looking really good, and get to the frickin' door and they're not on the reservation list. They don't have the VIP seats.
No, and matter of fact, his rivals also rubbing it in their face that he's got their
Yes.
tickets, which also rubs Johnny the wrong way
Right.
and everything too. The whole entire time that he's even at watching on the TV because they know they were supposed to be there, it just pisses them off even
Right.
more. And then at the pool party, at the bar and everything, it's pissing him off even more. He gets a
Because
big
dude
old
is
huge
just
bottle of
like
Bacardi
talking. Right.
and just smacks the dude across the head with it. I love how real it was though, because normally in scenes the bottle always breaks, and this one the bottle didn't even break.
Exactly. I'm waiting for the bottle to break because it always does. And it didn't. And it looked so real as he's hitting the dude in the face and you're seeing the blood. You're seeing his basically his face being caved in. And I have to say, though, he deserved it.
Yep,
He
I
deserved
think
it.
that's
You're
how the
taunting this man.
yes, I do agree with you. I think that's also how the guy with the twisted T felt whenever he woke up the next day, probably. But but, but you know, I didn't mean to break it.
Oh my God.
But he had every right to hit him. I'm sorry. If I had tickets, those tickets are not cheap either, especially in the '80s. When
Exactly.
we look at it, those are ringside seats. and everything. That's
Exactly.
like taking seats away from Frank Lucas. You did not take that away from him.
Exactly.
But and then also too, Rick also gets him gets a Jewish star chain.
Oh, that's right. I thought he was
Because
Jewish.
he
When I
likes,
saw the chain, I'm like, oh, okay, so they're Jewish.
you
I
see,
didn't
you know
realize
what
he
I'm
just was
hearing
wearing the chain.
here? Okay, this is me thinking like a 15-year-old. Okay, I'm thinking you got it because you like the design on it. You don't know what it means, but it looks
Right.
cool, and you
Right.
also feel like that you belong with this crew. So a 6-point star could mean more than just a Jewish star, according to him.
Right. Right.
So him getting the Jewish star just meant like it's a 6-point star, which could
Right.
call like Bloods and like the Bloods and then the Crips kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That could be a symbolism for even though it's not the Crips and Bloods within this crew, but to him it could symbolize something more
Yes.
and everything.
Yes.
So I was just
And it's
thinking from
funny
a
when his dad
15-year-old's
brings it up
perspective.
to him what he's wearing. Because
Oh, for your dad
when
to
his
bring
dad
that?
brought it up and was like, what are you? You Jewish? Like, what are you doing there? You got the, he's like, remember Rick looks down because he doesn't know. He, like you said, it could be exactly what you said. He just thought it looked cool, 6-point star, not realizing until his dad points it out. And it's like, telling him what the star is. And yeah, I thought that was funny.
I did too. He's like, so you met a nice little Jewish girl though, huh? While you were in
That's
Vegas?
right. That's right.
And Rick is like, huh? What are you talking about? He goes, the star, Rick, the fucking star.
That's
What do you think it means? He goes, you're gonna convert to Judaism to being Jewish? He goes, I didn't know
that's
that's what it
right.
meant.
He was lost. He was lost, and I was lost too because I was like honestly, I was like, oh, okay, he's wearing a star, and yeah, not realizing he's a 15-year-old kid. He probably thought it was
Right.
cool. Yeah, that was funny. That was really funny, and I love the little bitty funny parts that you do get in the film.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of me and dark humor. It always goes together.
Yes,
So
yes,
when you have
absolutely.
comedic stuff like this, I'm just all over the place with it. I'm always laughing my ass off at it, to be honest with you. You should hear my Soprano stuff. I'll tell you.
Oh my gosh.
Because trust me, whenever I'm doing my Soprano stuff, my Boston accent
Yeah,
actually comes out when I'm doing it.
that's right. You are from Boston.
Yeah. So
That's
my
right.
Italian Boston side comes out whenever I'm talking about the Sopranos.
I'm gonna have to check you out on that, John.
All right, I'll send you a link after this, and you can tell
Please
me what you
do.
think.
Please do.
I will.
Please do.
I will. And also too, I forgot to mention this. Rick also sleeps with this other girl named Brenda, and everything.
Right. Right.
So remember the pigtails? He said, I liked you whenever you were sitting in front of me. I was always looking at pigtails. I'm like,
That's
wait, you went
right.
to school?
That's
But,
right. And she was just
I
a really
definitely
sweet girl, really nice. I don't, and they only show them that one time at the theater,
right.
and and then after that, you don't see them together as much until obviously later on in the film.
Right, in 1986, when Brenda's
In
brother tells
1986.
Ricky, right, and then this is also, of course, when Brenda's brother tells Ricky that Brenda has a daughter named Kisha, and that Ricky is
Yes,
the father. I love
that
when the
kid
little
was
boy
so
walks on.
cute.
It was.
That
I
kid
love
was
it when.
so adorable. I mean, when he showed up at the door and he starts talking his talk, I'm just dying because he said, "Don't make me come back here." And I'm just like, it was a good part. It was really good. But before that, though, didn't before that Ricky end up getting shot? Because remember
Yeah, he
his
did.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
before
believe he
that, remember
did.
he gets shot.
Yeah. Ricky actually gets shot. Okay. Yeah, he gets shot and everything. I completely
Yeah,
forgot about that. Okay, yeah.
yeah.
He winds up, yeah, because Nug goes to his house and he shoots him in the stomach.
Yes,
And
comes
Snyder
over to hang
informs,
out and shoots him. I was
yeah,
shocked.
shoots him. And at that point, I don't even know if he was going to live or not, to be
Right.
honest with you.
Because
I
it looked
thought he
like
was
he
going to
died on the
die.
floor there, you know?
Right. And then Snyder informs Ricky that they have enough evidence to raid all of Johnny's safe houses and asks him to forget about the shooting in exchange for dropping all charges on his father. So Rick actually
Yes,
negotiates. Rick Jr. does. He's good at negotiating when it comes down to him
absolutely.
with his father. So I definitely
Yes.
love that. I also loved. We're gonna get into this other thing in a minute after they get done seeing the baby and stuff. But
Yeah.
there's actually a little comical part though that I really liked about it, though too. Um, and Rick thinks he's still going to be able to go to school because Rick wanted to go back to school, and his father goes, "You can't go back to school, Rick. You you got shot." The teachers think that there's more of a chance that the kids could get shot too with you being at the school, so no
That's
school for
right.
you.
That's right. I was like, that's so wrong. That is so wrong because he finally had decided, you know what, I'm going to listen to what my father said. I'm going back to school. Poor kid can't even go back because they're scared that he's just going to, they're going to come after everyone after school if he's there. So
Right,
no school for him.
exactly. And then, like I said, a year later, that's when the little boy knocks on the door. He says, "You
Yes.
knocked out my sister. What are you gonna do about
That's right. That's right.
it?"
And you
And
is that your dad? Yeah, it's my dad. Okay, so that's grandpa right there. You're gonna be a grandfather. How do you feel about that? And he just looks at Rick, and the kid was great. The kid was great.
he was. Also, too, whenever he pulls up to the house, he knocks on, after Rick goes in, he talks to Rick Sr., knocks on the window. He goes, "Hey, Grandpa, what's going on?"
That's
He goes, "Grandpa," and he's like, "Grandpa, what?" At this point, he still doesn't know what's going on. Rick kept that from
yeah.
him.
And
And
doesn't think
he
that, you
goes
know,
in,
that Ricky has a baby, you know, like it's real
right. I
or
think the
his.
realization hasn't hit him. Right, exactly. But I think he's thinking that he's going to see a friend that happens to be pregnant, and the kid is just
Okay.
messing with him. Hey,
Yep.
Grandpa. That's just me on how I
Right.
viewed it. I don't know if you viewed it
Right.
differently,
I just
but
I thought maybe he just I thought maybe the dad just was like, it's not his baby.
okay,
Maybe it's
that's
just not
true.
his baby. It's maybe it's a mistake, you know, a possibility, but maybe it's not his baby until, you know, the dad ends up coming inside. Well, first Rick sees the baby and beautiful little baby, and you know, you believe it's his baby because there's no reason the girl's not out there like that, you know. So when Matthew comes in, Rick's father comes in and sees the baby, and remember he makes this statement, and I remember freezing up thinking, oh God, he doesn't believe it's the baby, but he says, there's no way that can be Rick's baby, and I was like, I knew it. He didn't think it was his baby, and then he says, because
Right,
she's too
that's
beautiful
true.
to be Rick's baby. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's really cool that he played it off like that, though. To be honest with you, now that I'm remembering the scene and
Yeah.
everything, and at first I was like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
is this going to come off as being racist, or how is this
I
going to
thought
come off? Because Matthew
I
McConaughey's
thought that too,
character,
John.
right? Because I'm thinking conservative rifles, AK-47s.
Yep.
You're selling to
Yep.
black people, but yet you're
Right.
also trying to cover that part up by being racist at the same time. But
Right.
he doesn't do that. He actually just accepts it for what it is and everything, which I thought was
Exactly.
really
And
good.
I'm so happy you brought that up because I thought that too. I thought when he said that, because I'm thinking that, like I said, he don't think that's his son's baby. So when he makes that statement, I'm like, oh gosh, here we come with the racist part. And then he's
Right,
like, she's just too beautiful. And it melts my heart because I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you. Because you live around, you're in a neighborhood that's of, you got black people, you got many
of
different
color.
types of people. So you guys have been around black people, you know, and he
Exactly.
comes
I
off
thought they
and
got.
says that. So
I'm glad they
that was
didn't do
awesome.
that though. I'm glad they hit us with that twist because we've seen it in every film and
Yeah.
everything. So I'm glad they didn't do it this route. I'm glad they fooled us with it.
Yes.
And I thought it was very well said. It wasn't forced. It was perfectly well executed whenever he says he
Exactly.
has that.
And
And
when he
then I
picks
also
the
like
baby
the
up and he's so
yeah,
happy. grandpa is so happy to be a grandfather, and he starts talking about how he used to rock Rick and all that. And I love that because it wasn't about race. It was just, what a beautiful baby, and it's my son's baby, and I love this baby.
Exactly. And then also
So
too,
that
Rick now
so
has
that was
something to
great.
live for.
Exactly. So that was absolutely great. And then of course after that, I think that's when they're heading on home and they get into, isn't that when they get into the car accident, the ice on the freeway?
Yeah, but there's actually a little comical scene that I really liked that I wanted to talk
Mm-hmm.
about. He goes, he goes, Rick, I know what it was like being a single parent and everything. I didn't even want you or your sister,
That's
but I learned
that's
to deal
right.
with it and everything. But it's gonna be okay. It's gonna work out in the end. He goes, how is it gonna work out in the end? Because I'm pissing through a colostomy bag. Your
Oh,
daughter's
that's
on crack, and he goes, well, I'm
right.
a glass
Right.
half empty kind of guy.
That's right. That was awesome scene. Absolutely funny because that's true. How, you got two kids that are basically fuck ups. You know,
Right.
we're not the all American family. You know what I mean? But yeah, I forgot that scene. Absolutely.
But yeah, now we go into 1987,
Okay.
and this is where Rick is going into it, selling crack again, and resumes the role that Johnny left behind. Because now Johnny's in
Yes.
prison, so
20
therefore
years. Yes.
You know what's crazy though? It's amazing how he actually transforms into this kingpin now. If you think about it, even though the headlines quote him as a kingpin, but you don't
Yeah.
really figure that this kid, who's now maybe 17, maybe 18 years old now,
Yeah.
a kingpin at an early age.
Because he's not really flashy. I mean, he
Right.
has the one chain,
No.
but who didn't have a chain? You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not doing anything. He's not going and buying cars and buying all this stuff, even though he has the money to do that. But the fact that he convinces his dad to go into business with him, let's just get some money, let's just do this, let me do the drug thing, I'll show you. And dad's totally against it, doesn't want to do it, but they decide to go ahead and do it. And it goes well. And I thought the funniest part was when the guys are all sitting around at the table and they're in grandma and grandpa's house and grandma and grandpa are helping them with this.
Oh yeah, that was
I was
hilarious.
shocked by that. I wasn't expecting that,
Right,
which was
because
smart
think
in
of
a
it like
way that they
this.
did it across the street, not in the house.
I think they figured, well, if we don't help him, he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to get into even more trouble. So it's better to do it
Yeah.
here than go somewhere else and get into more trouble. At least over here, it looks like he's visiting his grandparents.
Yeah. And it was smart. But the fact that they helped him, I'm like, oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Okay. This is good. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, they go into business and they do really well.
They do. As a matter of fact, they actually they actually open up the video store like they say, like he said he was
Right.
going to do.
Right.
And the father's celebrating. He goes, "This is the future now. This is the
Yeah.
videos. This is going to be the life." Just imagine if
And
they
and
were in the later 2000s. It's not so great. Let's just say that Rick is gonna have to go back selling crack to make ends meet. But
Right.
it's the 80s. That's why I
It's
make
the
an excuse
80s.
up for any movie. It's the 80s.
Oh my God. It's the 80s though.
Right. The FBI agents arrest Ricky, and he is held on drug possession with intent to distribute, which could land him in potential life sentence. And then Rick former handlers deny the relationship, which I was angry about.
I was so pissed at that because I thought, first of all, you guys are so wrong for getting this kid into this. This kid was not doing this. This kid was not into drugs, not doing that. They are responsible for that. And the fact that this kid is facing life, and the fact that also that they was like, there's nothing we can do. We can't really say anything in public. We can't. I couldn't believe that.
Right. And even Matthew McConaughey is like, my kid was not selling drugs up until he met you. And then also too,
Exactly.
you're the ones who put that in his hands. And then the woman was like, nah, she's like, that's just one point of view. That never happened.
Ugh,
And just
wow.
completely denies it. I'm like,
Right.
ooh. And then of
Use that
course,
kid.
And then also too, I like how Rick Sr. turns around and he goes, "Well, I'll just go on ahead and go to the newspapers with this." He goes, "Who are they going to believe? Some 17, 18-year-old kid who was selling crack saying that the FBI made him do it?"
Right.
So,
Yeah.
his hands were tied. It was like,
But he
well,
trusted
shit,
his
what the
dad
hell?
to, and remember that the dad was the one that said, Ricky, just let me do the talking, whatever. They get in there. His dad was the one that made that deal because he believed, like I believed, that okay, charges are going to be dismissed because this kid went, he did what they wanted him to do. He set up with the what Johnny's girlfriend, had her protect the shipment that was coming in from Miami. He did exactly what they wanted. They got who they wanted, but they didn't get the mayor.
That was the biggest thing. They wanted the
And
mayor.
that was they wanted the mayor, and that did not happen. So this kid is facing life, and how they just basically dropped him off, made a deal with him, and then they're in court. I could not believe that sentence.
On top of that, though, his name is mentioned on TV, which was not supposed to happen.
Oh
This
my
makes him a
gosh,
big target.
right.
And they also got the
Yes.
mayor because of that.
Yes, but
They use
when I'm sitting there watching that, and you're watching the whole family, grandma, grandpa, and by the way, we failed to mention they did get the sister. She did end up getting off drugs, and that was great.
right.
So they
She
did
did.
do that. So they're sitting there watching the news report, and I'm blown away. I'm like, wait, they're saying his name. Why are they saying his name? And after that, I'm thinking he's gonna get killed. He's gonna die. Something's gonna happen because they're not supposed to mention his name. That was not supposed to happen.
And I thought he was going to die in prison, to be honest with you, because he would be a bigger hit in prison than he would be out on the streets. When
Exactly.
you think about it,
Because they
because
said that he was working for the government. He was an informant. They
right.
said that on the TV, so everybody knows. So I knew for sure something's going to go down in prison with him. There's no way he's living through this.
I also like how Rick Sr. also confronts the two agents about the deal, but they didn't feel their ignorance is actually their ignorance is bliss if you think about it.
Right.
Where they don't want to face the consequences of their own actions by doing this to this kid, and even the
Right.
grandparents were mad about it.
Yeah, it was wrong. And the scene where the dad is in the bar and the detective or agent is there, and the dad's pretty pissed off, and he's like, I don't want to talk about this. I'm working or whatnot. The agent looked like, to me, it seemed like the way that the camera focused on him, he had the look of he knew they were wrong. He knew they fucked up, and there's nothing he could do. He knew they were wrong for what they did to this kid. And remember, he
Exactly.
says he'll get out. He'll get out someday. He's young.
And he's
And
young.
that's what he
Yep.
tells his dad. He's young. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's young. But I'm still not thinking the kid's going to serve the sentence that he served. I thought that he was going to maybe do 6 years, get out until the end of the movie. I'm like, are you
Right.
kidding me?
That's how you know how bad the justice system is. They only are out for themselves, and that's it. When it comes down to that, the corruption, on some of the corruption that goes on,
Absolutely. So
they're
he
only going to
spends
use
what,
you.
30 years in prison.
Yeah, and holding the record for the longest prison term for a non-violent offender in the state of Michigan. And he was released on parole in 2017. His father passed away in 2014. His daughter Kesha
Right.
is now happily married with 2 sons.
Right.
And I liked
And
how they
he and
actually
they
hear the
and
voice
he
recording.
he stayed in contact with his daughter throughout the whole time he was in prison. But like you said, when a voice recording comes on and you hear him, the real Rick, talk, it was so sad, John. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was just so sad. His dad died, his grandparents died while he was in prison. And to be there that long for a non-violent crime.
Exactly. And also, too, let's not mention this. Um, the father said, this is what Rick Sr. said to the lawyer. He said that with the attempted murder, he goes, what about the attempted murder thing? He goes, he would actually do less time for murder than he would be doing for the drugs,
Right. Right.
which is just
And to
crazy.
also and to also find out that Johnny, who got 20 years, all of them got out way before Rick got out. They were all
Exactly. And
released,
also,
and yeah,
it goes to show you that, the justice system is corrupt when it comes down to that. And also, money talks,
yes,
though, too. And,
yes,
I want to go back to that whole entire law where Johnny tells Rick, you'll be doing white boy crime versus the crime that we do, but you did less time than what Rick did.
right, and very true. Way less time than Rick did, so that was not the truth. That was not they thought, but no, it wasn't. They did their time and got out, and that boy sat up in prison for over 30 years and didn't 1988 to 2017.
Yep. And
That's
also, too, he missed.
crazy.
It definitely is because the last time he saw his daughter, I liked how he kept up with his daughter, of course, and of course his daughter
Yeah,
gets his Dom visits him in prison with Kesha as well. But
yeah, yeah,
he missed out on so much. He missed out on his dad passing away, which nobody
yeah,
really wants to see that. But
yeah.
still, he missed out on more time with his father and everything. He missed out on life with his daughter,
Right.
and also too with his girlfriend slash maybe wife now.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
well, no, no, no. She remarried. She remarried. She married somebody, or was that
Yes,
Kesha that married
the
somebody?
yes. Um, Also, you can imagine how his dad felt, always telling him, we're going to fight this. We're warriors. We're going to fight this. We're going to get you out. How must his dad have felt that it didn't happen after 6 years? It didn't happen after 10 years. And it's 2012. You know what I mean? The years are going on and your boy is still in prison. They
2017.
never thought that he'd be in prison still.
Right.
Yeah, and by the way, everyone that was involved, the FBI agents, all that, it did say that they all got released from work.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's a good thing, but it's a little too
yeah,
late. You still have a kid up in prison.
exactly. That's where I'm.
The way
Yeah, exactly.
the way I see it is this: you ended up releasing them from their jobs, but you're not going to release that kid from that because now you know the truth. Now you know the truth, and
Exactly.
you're still letting that kid rot in there.
That yeah, that you know,
He did 30
good
years in
story,
prison.
great story. I'm happy that
Yep.
they made this movie. Um, Never heard of this white boy Rick until this movie, and to watch the story, to see how much time he got, you feel bad for him, and yeah, the government got over on him, and they introduced this to him.
Yep. Also,
Yeah,
too, when was the first time that you saw this movie? I'm just wondering.
I saw it for the first time this morning.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I
Um.
watched it this morning, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had this on my DVR for a while. Like the very first time I saw this movie, I didn't see it in theaters or anything like that. My aunt and
Mm-hmm.
uncle were visiting from Boston, and my uncle just happened to have it on, and I didn't see it from the beginning, but my uncle did. He goes, "Have you
Mm-hmm.
seen this movie?" I said, "No, I haven't." So I was invested in the story in the middle of this, which I hardly ever do. I don't ever see a movie from the middle because it's one of my biggest pet peeves. Because why would I invest my time into missing out on 15 or 30 minutes of the film when I don't know what happened in the very start of it? But it got
Right.
me interested enough to where I'm like, okay, whenever this comes on again, I'm definitely going to hit that record button on my DVR. And, and I wound up watching it from the beginning a couple of years ago. And then it came back on again.
Mm-hmm.
I had this recorded last year and everything on my Genie.
Wow.
So I kept it on there. So
Wow.
I'm glad I kept it on there for a reason because I always like going back and watching it.
Well, Netflix on April 7th will be releasing White Boy Rick, the documentary.
Oh,
Yeah,
you know
I
what? We're gonna have to
cannot
do
wait.
that.
Yeah, there you go. We should, because I can't wait for it. When I saw that, because I was looking for the movie on Netflix and it wasn't on Netflix. Then I went to Hulu, it wasn't on Hulu. So I ended up buying it on YouTube. And
Okay.
so, when I typed it in on Netflix, White Boy Rick came up, but it said coming April 7th, White Boy Rick documentary. And I'm like, freaking yes, because I cannot wait to see the documentary.
Me
I
too.
think we should totally do that.
Yes, definitely. Because I feel like this is a documentary. I want to know the difference between the movie and what this
Yes.
is.
Yep.
So yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Okay. All right. Cool.
We'll watch the episodes if it's an episodic type of deal. We'll go ahead, watch the episodes, and then we'll
Okay.
schedule a date on when to do it. And then also too, if it's just a one shot thing like the Biggie Smalls documentary that me and this
Yeah.
other independent rapper did, we'll just schedule
Yeah.
a day on when we'll do it.
Okay. That's cool. Hopefully it's episodes so we can watch each episode and do it. But either way, I can't wait to see it because I'm like you. I want to see the real story, the trial. I want to see the pictures of the officers. I want to see all of it.
Me too. Same
So,
here.
but
All
thank you
right.
for recommending this movie, though. I mean, you recommended me
You're
some,
welcome.
so you've recommended some good movies to me, and this one was a really good movie, John. Just a really good
You're
movie.
welcome. You're welcome. It's
Yes.
highly underrated. Nobody really talks about it. I love Matthew
Yeah.
McConaughey, but it's just
Why
one
do
of
you
those
think
movies
that
that
is?
people ignore. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, it's a good movie. Of course, my one of my friends, Charlie, who's actually the admin and everything, he didn't really care for Lightweight Rick or anything. But
Hmm.
you know, nobody's really talks about this movie. Everybody talks about other films that Matthew McConaughey was in, but this film is like super underrated. I don't know because of the fact it was like
Yeah.
mixed reviews. It was the problem. Maybe the mixed reviews got to people who were like,
Maybe.
I don't know, I want to check it out. It's a smaller film with a smaller budget. It barely made its money back because you take a third of the 26 million that it made because
Yeah.
it goes to the movie theaters and stuff like that, and the rest goes over to the box
Right.
office. It probably made about $1,500 of that.
Damn. Well,
Yep.
yeah, I'm with you. I was like, Matthew had a great performance in it. Even this kid, Richie Merritt, and the fact that you have a legend in there, Jennifer Jason Leigh. I was just shocked that I hadn't heard about the movie. I saw a trailer for it once, and that was pretty much it. Didn't really hear much about it. Kind of just went away.
Right. It
I
was like a
think that's why I
ghost.
didn't watch it, Kind of just, got for me.
Moved on. Right, and that's sad though. I like underrated films. That's why I like introducing people to underrated films. This is why I like doing these reviews
Right.
so much. Um,
Well, this was a good call.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm glad that you're
Just
enjoying
like
it.
the King of New York. That one was a good call. Or the King of Staten Island, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That
King of
we
Staten Island.
I probably watched it probably 4 times now, John.
Awesome. I'm
I
glad I'm not
love
the
that
only one.
movie. That was such a good movie, dude.
Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. That means so much to me that you enjoy that film because I like
Right.
introducing people to new films and everything.
Oh yeah.
Also, too, I know you're into horror though too. I
Oh
reviewed
yeah.
Wrong Turn, the reboot last night,
Yeah.
and um, and let me just tell you, it is totally different from what we got with uh, the original one.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you're expecting cannibals in this movie, hillbilly cannibals, do not expect
Yeah.
that. You're getting something
So it's not
totally
going to be
different.
as grungy as the first one.
You're still going to get the
Like,
gore factor in it, but you're
okay.
not going to get the cannibalism part with the hillbillies.
Really?
Nope, you're going to get the traps. You're going to get everything else. There is might be a little small part where it's a little bit of cannibalism, but not as much and heavy as the original.
I remember you guys were talking about it last night, and you guys had
Yeah,
mentioned that it's actually a PG-13 now.
I want to say it's rated R. That was like a
Oh,
hard
is it?
R.
Okay, I thought you guys were saying
We were
okay,
just talking.
okay.
We were just talking about PG-13 versus rated R horror
Oh, okay,
movies.
okay. I
and
was
everything.
like, it's PG. Dang, they really took a lot out of it then. Okay, all right.
Right,
But is it good?
it's good because I
Okay,
was expecting not to go into this. To be honest with you, I was expecting less from this movie. To be honest with you,
yeah,
and then I came out of it like, okay, this was a really good film. Would I own it on Blu-ray? Probably
okay,
not, but it's good for a rental from Redbox.
okay, cool. All right, all right.
But let me know if you ever check it out or whatever. I would like to get your thoughts on it.
Oh, I definitely will. I'll definitely let you know.
And I'll
I love
also
my
send
horror
you
films.
definitely. And I'll also tell you what, I'll send you a link to that Soprano season one
Okay,
review because get this, usually every Monday we'll go season by season of The Sopranos.
okay,
And right now I'm doing season 6 part 1, but
okay.
I'm not releasing all the episodes yet. I'm actually putting it
Oh,
into
okay.
one big huge package type of deal.
How many
where
seasons
basically
did they have?
it's 6 seasons, but it's split up into two parts.
Okay. Okay.
And we've done 1 through 5. I'm on season 6, part 1 of The Sopranos. As a matter of fact, I'm actually calling this. Matter of fact, this is what I'm calling it after I'm done with everything. Season
Yeah.
6, part 1, side A of The Sopranos.
Okay. Okay.
So think of it as a cassette tape. Side A, you get
Yeah.
part 1, and then once we do part 2, that'll be side B.
Okay. I get you. I get you.
So so that's how I'm releasing it. I didn't release any of the episodes for season 6. And as a matter of fact, Stephanie asked me this, which is the woman
Hmm.
who actually runs the Sopranos blueprint. She's like, "Have
Yeah.
you?" She's like, "This. Did you release any of the episodes?" I said, "Nope." She goes, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm going to do this all at one time." I said, "Yes, it might be big, but I want this to be where people don't want to stop listening to it."
Right. Okay. Okay.
Which I have like 50 people that listen to season 5 already, and that was like a 2 hour long episode.
It seems like it's really popular though. I mean, you've been doing The
It is.
Sopranos for a while now, and it seems like you have a pretty popular thing going on though.
Yeah, I do. We actually have a thing called Mafia Talk Mondays. So,
Yes. I'll be honest with you, John. I have not seen The Sopranos.
oh, you need to. I think you'll
I
love it.
I know I know I have not seen it. Um, yeah, I haven't seen it, and I think when I wanted to see it, it went off. That's when
Right.
it was over with. It went off the air, and then it just like it escapes you. It gets by, and yeah. So I'm new to The Sopranos.
Okay. That's great though, because you can listen to our review of season 1,
Okay,
and it may actually amplify you to make me want to check out season 1. So,
absolutely,
and it's kind of
absolutely.
spoilerish, but we don't give out everything that happens, but because it's
Okay,
pretty much we go based off of memory of what we watched. But
okay, cool,
we but I would say that once you get into like season 4, 5, and 6, yeah, it gets very spoilerish.
okay, all right. I'm gonna have to check it out though.
Okay. Well, where can everybody reach you at?
Everyone can reach me on Instagram at McCree123 hotmail.com. That's MCCREE hotmail.com. You can also reach me on Twitter at Rossie Lynn Bark 1 and Facebook on my Facebook page at Rossie Lynn.
Okay. And everybody, you guys can follow me at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Night on Facebook. Underneath the same name on Instagram as well as on Pinterest. You can also donate to the page and everything too. How do you do that? You just go to www.gofundme.com/movie lovers podcast over there. Go on ahead, donate $5 to $10 towards us. We'll appreciate that. Another thing too is you can also follow me here on Stereo as well at Movie Lovers Unit. You can also follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit, and also too on Twitter at John DeGorio8. Another thing too is, guys, coming soon. We're actually having merch coming, so we're gonna be
Cool.
right now. We have 2 T-shirts that we're gonna be putting out there, and they're gonna be $20 each for the two. One's a Mafia Talks T-shirt with red with some mafioso people on there. And it's called Mafia Talks, and it has my friend's Mike's name on there, Mikey P, and then Johnny D. So that's going to be one shirt. The other shirt is Movie Lovers Unite, which is just the logo. Go on ahead. If you want to buy one or whatever, just go on ahead and email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com for that. We're also selling masks too for $10. So whenever those come in and everything, I'm going to be selling those. We're if these things sell well, we're going to do a website soon. So stay tuned for more.
Cool.
So yeah, I have a lot of exciting things and ideas that I want to do.
It sounds like it.
But
It sounds like it. Wow.
thanks. But Rossie, thank you again. I do appreciate you being on the show as always. You're always a great guest. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, John. I appreciate you
You're
having
welcome.
me on always.
You're very welcome. And always until next time, guys. It's been fun. It's been real. I can't wait to do this again. And bye bye.
Goodbye.